If God would rather show mercy than judgment, then why are religious people so judgmental? Maybe some of us have felt like this before, where we've been made to feel guilty or rubbish or excluded by Christians and by the church. But Jesus himself certainly didn't stand for religious judgmentalism. He said that when we judge others, it's like we see a speck of sawdust in somebody else's eye, but we miss the whopping great log in our own eye. It's like going to a dinner party, absolutely covered in mud and sweat, and absolutely stinking, and then getting outraged about a smudge on somebody else's tie. Jesus warned against having double standards. We shouldn't have a standard that we expect of other people, but we don't live up to ourselves. That's hypocrisy. And Jesus didn't stand for hypocrisy. Jesus also didn't stand for pride. One time, a group of people brought a woman to Jesus who had been caught in the act of adultery. They wanted to give her the death sentence by stoning, but Jesus' reply was this: "Let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone." In other words, only perfect people have the right to judge or condemn others. And Jesus also taught that none of us is perfect. All of us have broken God's law somehow. And so none of us have the right to condemn, to look down, or to judge others. That's pride. Hypocrisy and pride. It's a pretty potent combination. And it's the basis for a judgmental attitude. But here's the catch. The problem is not the measuring stick. The problem is not the moral standard. It's the way that we use it. And so whether it's the Bible or a secular value like tolerance, we can so often use the measuring stick to get one up over others, to look down on others, or even to try to control people through guilt trips or something similar. And it's not only Christians who are guilty of this. If someone looks down on a Christian for being judgmental, they are doing exactly the same thing. And so suddenly the whole situation seems a lot more messy. It seems like this disease of judgmentalism is epidemic in our culture. So what's the antidote? We need a judge. We need someone who can tell us what is right without being hypocritical or proud. And in God, we find a perfection that can never be hypocritical. And we find an outrageous humility that can never be proud. God does not look down on us for our imperfections, but he comes down to pay the price for them through his death on the cross. So yes, sometimes Christians are judgmental. Sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes I get it wrong, and I'm sorry. But though Christians might disappoint us, Christ never will. He is not judgmental. He is not hypocritical, and nor is he proud. He is the perfect, humble judge.